PlayStation's July savings sale ends soon, but before that, here are 20 insane deals that are totally worth buying. I am going to start with Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, 58% off. If you've somehow managed to avoid this game until now, this is your sign. I honestly think it's one of PlayStation's best exclusives ever made. The combat is incredibly satisfying, the world is gorgeous, and just riding through the countryside feels relaxing. The Director's Cut also includes the Aki Island expansion, which is absolutely worth playing. If you love open world games, this is an easy recommendation. Next up is Grounded, 50% off. This game completely surprised me. What starts off looking like a simple survival game quickly turns into one of the most fun co-op experiences you can have. Everything feels huge because you've been shrunk down to the size of an ant, so even fighting a spider becomes absolutely terrifying. If you've got a few friends, you're going to have a blast with this one. Then we have Bloodborne, 50% off. I know people say this every single time, but there's a reason for it. This is still one of the greatest Souls games ever made. The aggressive combat, incredible atmosphere, and unforgettable bosses make it something every PlayStation owner should experience at least once. Yes, we're all still waiting for a PS5 patch, but even without one, it's absolutely worth playing. Next is The Last of Us Remastered, also 50% off. Even after all these years, this story still hits just as hard. Their relationship between Joel and Ellie is one of the best in gaming, and it's easy to see why this became such a huge PlayStation classic. If you've only watched the TV show and never played the game yourself, you're seriously missing out. Then we have Stardew Valley, 50% off. I don't think I've ever met someone who regretted buying this game. You start by thinking you'll play for half an hour and suddenly it's 3 in the morning because you just wanted to finish one more day. Farming, fishing, mining, making friends with the town. It's somehow relaxing and addictive at the same time. Next is Infamous Second Son, 50% off. This is one of those PlayStation exclusives that I don't think gets talked about enough anymore. Running across Seattle with superpowers, climbing buildings, and choosing whether to be a hero or a villain is still incredibly fun. It also holds up surprisingly well visually considering its age. Then we have Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, 50% off. If you've never played this before, it's basically controlled chaos. You build completely ridiculous armies, and then sit back and watch physics do the rest. Every battle turns into something hilarious, especially once you unlock some of the crazier units. It's just pure fun. Next up is Shadow of the Colossus, 50% off. This isn't just a remake, it still feels like a work of art. The world is quiet, mysterious, and every boss fight feels like an unforgettable event. There really aren't many games that create the same feeling of scale and loneliness as this one. Then we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, 40% off. If you grew up playing these games, this is pure nostalgia done right. And if you didn't, they're still some of the most fun arcade sports games ever made. The controls feel fantastic, the soundtrack is great, and pulling off ridiculous combos never gets old. Next is Slime Rancher 2, 40% off. This is one of those games I always recommend when someone wants something relaxing. Collecting adorable slimes, expanding your ranch, and exploring colorful new areas is just such a chill experience. It's impossible to play this game while being stressed. Then we have PowerWash Simulator, 60% off. I know how this sounds. Cleaning dirt shouldn't be fun, but somehow it is. There's something unbelievably satisfying about turning a filthy building into something spotless. Throw on a podcast, switch your brain off, and you'll suddenly realize you've been pressure washing for 2 hours. Next is The Forest, 70% off. This is still one of my favorite survival games to play with friends. During the day you're building your base and exploring caves, then night comes and suddenly these creepy cannibals start surrounding your camp. It's equal parts survival, horror, and complete panic, especially when you're playing with friends who make terrible decisions. Then we have The Outlast Trials, Deluxe Edition, 70% off. Imagine Outlast, except now you can scream with your friends instead of suffering alone. Every trial feels tense, the enemies are terrifying, and communication becomes absolutely essential. It's one of the best co-op horror games to come out in years. Next is Wreckfest, 70% off. If realistic racing games aren't your thing, this might be exactly what you're looking for. The destruction of physics are incredible, and sometimes the best strategy is simply driving straight into everyone else. It's chaotic, hilarious, and endlessly fun. Then we have Battlefield 1, 70% off. I still think this is the best Battlefield game EA has ever made. The atmosphere, the sound design, and those massive multiplayer battles are just incredible. Even today, few shooters capture the chaos of war quite like Battlefield 1. Next is Destroy All Humans, 2 Reprobed, 70% off. This game knows exactly what it wants to be. Ridiculous fun. You're invading Earth as an alien, throwing people around with telekinesis, destroying cities with UFO weapons, and causing complete chaos. It's silly, but that's exactly why it's so entertaining. Then we have Warhammer 40,000, Darktide 75% off. If you enjoyed Left 4 Dead or Vermintide, you'll probably love this. Fighting through endless hordes while working together with your team feels incredibly satisfying, and the combat has so much weight behind it. It's one of the most underrated co-op games around. Next is Overcooked. 2, 75% off. This game has probably ended more friendships than any competitive shooter. 1 minute everyone's calmly making burgers, and the next everyone's yelling because someone accidentally set the kitchen on fire. It's absolute chaos, and that's exactly why it's so much fun. Then we have Mad Max, 75% off. This game seriously deserved more attention when it launched. The vehicle combat is fantastic, upgrading your magnum opus feels incredibly rewarding, and the wasteland is surprisingly fun to explore. If you like open world action games, don't let this one slip past you. And finally, Assassin's Creed Odyssey Ultimate Edition, 80% off. This is easily one of the biggest bargains in the entire sale. You're getting a massive open world, dozens upon dozens of hours of content, all the DLC, and honestly one of the best RPG-style Assassin's Creed games Ubisoft has made. If you've been waiting to jump into Odyssey, this is probably the best time to do it. Those are my picks for the best deals in PlayStation's July savings sale. If I had to recommend just 5 games, I'd go with Ghost of Tsushima, Bloodborne, The Forest, Assassin's Creed Odyssey Ultimate Edition, and Warhammer 40,000, Darktide. But honestly, there are so many great deals here that it's hard to go wrong. Let me know what you're picking up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.